50 years ago, NBC aired an amazing episode of classic Star Trek, The Menagerie, Part 1. Our main trio, Kirk, Spock and McCoy, beam down to a wonderful matte painting representing Starbase 11. They're welcomed by Miss Piper, who might be actually retarded. She's wondering why did they come. Kirk claims they have been ordered to come by Captain Pike, the former captain of the Enterprise. But there is a little problem. Pike has been seriously injured, spends all his time in his wheelchair, and is capable of communicating only by beeps. 1 beep is yes, 2 beeps means no. Doesn't the Lugor sound very futuristic, does it? We soon find out that it was actually Spock who faked the orders. He kidnaps Pike, illegally takes over the Enterprise and tries to escape. But Kirk and Commodore Mendez get on board of the Enterprise and arrest him. Soon we get to the most interesting part of the story, the court-martial. Spock is on trial, but he refuses to give back the command of the ship, which is heading towards Talos 4, the only planet which can not be visited. The penalty for this is death. During the trial we see Spock's evidence in form of footage from the original Star Trek pilot, The Cage. For the rest of this episode, the editor intercuts between these two storylines. The story of The Cage is pretty simple. I have done 7 episodes of The Versionist about it, where I describe it in detail. Maybe too much detail, the differences between all the available versions of this story. So I'm not going into much detail about this aspect of the show, so let me just briefly describe the plot. The crew of the Enterprise under the command of Captain Pike has some fight behind them, which left them all injured. That's why they hurry up to their base, where they can take care of their injured crew members. When they suddenly get a distress call, an Earth ship appears to have been crash-landed on the planet Talos 4, 18 years ago. After arriving on the planet, the away team finds a bunch of aging scientists and a beautiful young woman called Veena, but soon they realize it was all just a trap. There are no survivors and the captain gets kidnapped. Meanwhile, in the quote-unquote real world, Kirk gets an information that the video feed they are receiving is coming from Talos 4, and he gets relieved from duty. The end of part 1. The episode is hard to describe. When I lived with my parents, I used to watch TV with my dad, who was the master of the remote. He had a bad habit. He watched a movie on one channel, but as soon as the commercial started, he switched to another channel to watch another movie, but when the commercials began on that second channel, he switched back to the first one. So while I liked both movies, the overall experience was weird, simply because I was watching 2 different movies with different stories and different actors at the same time. Watching The Menagerie is very similar to watching TV with my dad. The story with Spock's trial is very interesting, the story from The Cage is very interesting, but when you intercut between these 2 stories, the final experience is worse than it could be if you watched the stories separately. That's why I decided to give this episode 8 out of 10. A small note, my favorite Star Trek episode is The Cage, and if it was shown on TV in its original run, I would make a video about it and give it 10 out of 10. So what do you think? Do you love it or hate it, or do you think it's just average? Let me know in the comment section, and see you next week when I'll be talking about The Menagerie Part 2.